We had been at the private house for 2 weeks now, and I'd begun to fall into the same rhythmic pattern for the past times as days went on. During the days, Akaza would allow me time to rest and fuel up whatever energy I needed. The demon tended to be quite strict on how much rest I was giving myself, knowing I was still on to mend the healing. Otherwise, I'd find myself being scolded at for a while, not taking my training seriously. At night, I spent hours and hours sparring with the demon, coursing through the methods of meddling he'd taught me, both physical and mental, until it was drilled into my system. It didn't take me long to get the things he taught me, but I still wasn't any closer to beating him, and that as the days progressed in what felt like such a repetitive and excessive amount of time, my frustration only seemed to grow at that fact. Eventually, it was all I could bring myself to think about. The thoughts eventually become a chat inside my mind, both during training and outside of it. More strength, more strength, more strength, more strength. I didn't have a motion of anything else. My brain focused on these simple words, yet even then, it still wasn't working. Not enough, not enough. Each hit with an echo with those phrases, no matter how exhausted I was, no matter how sore my mind and body became, I couldn't bring myself to forget those words, or the joyous smile of my sister. But as each day passed and no progress was being made, it was becoming a lot more sensitive to keep it all up. All my effort went into it. There was no room for anything else. And Akaza never said a word about my attitude, which I was so very thankful for. He would have even had to push me much further than I already was myself. And half the time, I'd been out practicing more often without him. But even with all my starving work, it was still never enough, though. It was getting so much harder to get up with such each and failed attempt. She's been out for hours now. The upper moon frowned, connecting on the young assassin's form as he stood by the window, shielding himself from the midday sun. It's been 2 weeks since they'd arrived here, working all together throughout the night hours, while the young woman would rest and eat all throughout the day. However, she still never questioned why they only trained at night. In fact, she hardly had any questions for him at all. She seemed utterly transfixed on getting more powerful. It was odd. Akaza thought to himself as he stared down at her from inside the house. He's been delivering a new set of clothes for her room about midday, expecting her to be asleep the way she normally was, only to find her missing. Her bed empty, was unmade and messy inside her room. He'd searched the entire house, trying not to get angry at her recklessly if she'd supposedly just decided to leave without telling him. But then he saw her, outside the same gravel clearing in which they spent their days training, well, I should say nights, on her own. And here he was, staring at her as she dodged all of these imaginary strikes and hits, over and over again. Akaza had almost forgotten how talented she truly was. For a young human woman, that was. The way she moved, it was something he hadn't seen in a long, long time. It was easy for him to have forgotten when he was up close and sparring with her. But seeing her now, it further proved her potential, along with the fact that she truly was an assassin. And it reminded him of why he chose her in the first place, why his master had as well. Well, I'm not your average human. Her words to him came flooding back all of a sudden, and he suppressed an old grimace. Sure, she was right about that. For hours she spent on her way half-side from the training they did together to work on her skills by herself. The things Akaza taught her, he watched her practice, drilling it into her system until it became second nature practically. But even when her unraveling will and resolve, there was a limit, and she was mere inches away from it. More. Yin. A calm yet stern voice sounded from somewhere around me, the same way it always did. Yet it always was so hard to pinpoint the source. The sound of my name on the demon's tongue was enough to snap me out of it. Like my soul was pushed back into my body, and I was practically doubled over at the amount of air I was forcing into my form as I was drowning. It wasn't enough. It wasn't. The chant inside my head died down. I fell onto my knees, stars clouding my vision, as I did my best to calm the rising in my chest, squinting my eyes at what I now noticed was moonlight, not sunlight, that had been coating the area in a bluish sheen. How long had I been out here for? I managed to get a hold of myself, my limbs tangling along with my brain, my body feeling as though it was a single feather. Damn it, I was on the verge of passing out. That's enough for today, Akaza said, and then his tattooed face came into view, and I looked up to see his pink head contracting itself against the moon as it shone in the background. I squinted, opening my mouth to reply. What? He crouched down to my level. I said you've done enough for the day. I take the time to rest, and you should too, he said, an odd look in his lidded eyes, the eyes I've grown so accustomed to for the last few weeks. The golden sheer of them was something that was always reminding me of that stake, of how powerful he was. And it was now I looked in those same eyes that I heaved. No. Akaza shook his head, looking away from me in a crouched form, another one I've seen so often from him. You cannot continue tonight, Yin. You won't improve if you push yourself this hard, he said in a matter-of-fact tone. It was my turn to shake my head at him before closing my eyes and using the little remaining energy I had to get up on my feet, Akaza mirroring my movements. He stayed in front of me, arms crossed as I spoke. You. A dry cough then burned my throat as the words came up. You were the one who told me that the only way I can improve was to practice. I sputtered out, forcing my breath more than so my words. Akaza glared silently. But you are not improving. My jaw twitched as I bit my tongue, returning his friendly look. Though mine was less intimidating, unfortunately. I know that, demon. I shot back, standing up straighter as I looked up at him in his own powerful stance. A part of me inwardly struck at the fact that I could not, and probably would never, look nor have as much power as this force of nature in front of me. It doesn't matter, he said, taking a step closer and frowning his brows. At this point, you are utterly useless, completely ruining yourself and any potential you might have. If this continues, you won't be able to use any of it. I paused, not knowing entirely what to say. Who the hell said I was doing this for you? I jabbed a finger at the center of his chest, my vision going red enough to not care about if he killed me due to my actions against him. He didn't react, instead keeping his calm yet stern stare upon my own glaring one. Either one of us was backing down, yet I still felt my will crumbling with each passing second. He frowned even deeper, scoffing lightly, one of the most human-like gestures I'd seen from him. You thought I was draining you to simply your benefits and your benefits alone? He asked, a sense of genuine curiosity coating his tone. Yeah, right. Please, I stated. I'm not an idiot. I always knew there was a second side to this deal. I finally took my finger off his chest, crossing my arms. It was then Akaza who paused, gaping at me whilst tilting his head. You knew? I nodded angrily. Yet you never asked why, or what it was that I required from you. A nod from me once more. Yeah, that's right. He frowned harder, both of us going silent before he asked. Why? I held his stare for a moment before breaking it, turning around on my heels with a strike of my head. A mound of silence once more as I closed my eyes. Because I don't care what it is, I offered honestly. Nothing else matters to me aside from becoming stronger. I took a breath, trying to calm myself, and Akaza didn't reply right away, but I could feel his eyes on me. Look, I snapped, my anger returning as I turned around to face him. Do with me what you will. I care less, but... I stared, walking closer. Know this. I am going to become stronger, whether it possibly takes, whatever it requires, even if it breaks me. I snarled at his blank expression. Got that? Akaza's gestures loosened, his gaze lowering in what looked like a defensive stance. Then you're a complete waste to me. Those words hit me like a punch to the gut. I don't give a single shit. I sneered at him through a clenched teeth. It was his turn to become angry, his eyes lighting up with the emotion that was taking a hold of both of us by my throat. You damn well should, he said, his voice rising. Because I assure you, this is no one else as strong as me who would put up with your bullshit, the utter lack of self-responsibility. Stark laughed. And here I was thinking you were chosen correctly. My lip turned upwards, and my chest began to rise even faster. Then you know what? I don't know you either. I said, I haven't needed you from the start. If it weren't for me, you'd be a rotting corpse right now. He snarled, revealing his sharp teeth, lighting up the warming under the moonlight. But I could care less. I didn't care that he was a demon. I didn't care what he wanted from me. I didn't care about anything except my one and only goal. Tell me, why is it that you are ruining yourself for this one desire? He asked suddenly, and my eyes snapped back to him. Why is it that you don't care for yourself and throw away the gifts you are born with only to be strong? My sister's warm smile flashed and my stomach tightened in response, my nose beginning to burn with the onset of what felt like tears. It's none of your damn business, I snapped, straightening. It's nothing you would ever understand. And if I'm only here for you to end up using me in the end, I huffed. Then you can kiss our deal goodbye. No, you said so yourself, demon. I'm no use to you. I turned to walk past him and into the house. So you can go ahead and find someone else, someone who is useful. I paused in front of him with a scowling face, returning it with my own threatening of violence. Because I am done. You hear me? I'm done. Akaza wasted no time. You're done when I say you're done. I was already making my way into the house, rushing up the stairs without hardly taking notice of anything due to the rage that was currently blinding me. Damn him. Damn him for ever believing he knew a single thing about me or what I needed. He was a demon. He didn't have a damn clue what I was fighting for, and I never could have expected him to. I began shoving my lack of items into a bag without any care for them, the chant returning into my mind. More strength, more power, more. I didn't need him. I could get stronger on my own. I packed my things vigorously, hardly able to hear Akaza's near silent footsteps entering my room. I can't let you leave, he said from somewhere behind me. I could care less. You will die if you go out there tonight. I don't care. I felt a rush of wind, and suddenly Akaza was mere inches from my side as I packed my things. I could feel his anger as if it was aura pooling from his pores, his neck phrase only emphasizing it. Why? I didn't look at him, nor did I respond as I continued to collect everything I'd need to make do. Why? He said, following me around the room. I didn't answer once more. Instead, I left the room with my bag, not bothering to look behind, even though I knew he was trailing on my heels. Damn it, Yin! He yelled as I reached the door. As I turned a casting dread look at him, he looked as though he would grab me to prevent me from leaving. But something held him back from doing so, and I didn't care. Tell me why. I wasn't sure what it was, but something about the way he desperately wanted to know why I did what I did. Why I destroyed myself over and over. Something about it made me snap. Because I have to, damn it. I snapped, my voice cracking with effort. I have to for her. My eyes met Akaza's stoic face as he watched me, my chest beginning to rise as though I'd been training for 8 hours straight. My sister is dying, I snarled. Something changed in the demon's stance. He froze, as if some sort of memory had taken over him in some sort of subnautica way, and I ignored it, continuing on. And the only goddamn way for me to do her from her is by killing. I gave him a dead laugh. You think I chose to be assassin for the pleasure of murdering the innocent and guilty? He didn't respond, still stricken with frozen for some reason. The only way I could get enough money to save her is by doing this, to use my skills for the only thing I was cursed at being good at, murdering. My throat was beginning to close up. Sliver began to line my eyes. She is all that I have left, and so saving her is all that I care about. I finished. I didn't give him a chance to respond, even though I didn't even believe that he would in his strange state of mind and body, as I stormed out of the house and out into the deadly forest once again. And this time, Akaza did not follow me at all. Man, that got intense. Anyways, did you enjoy it? because tomorrow, sadly, I won't be posting any any Demon Slayer chapter because one, I have I hate to inform you, but I do not have any demon slaying Halloween stories. I could look up one real quick, or I could just do the next chapter. It's up to you guys. I really don't care. But if there's no episode tomorrow, then you know why, because I don't have one. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I love you all so much. Mwah!